Hello, my name is Alicia Crawley and I am a student here at Liberty University. Today I will be presenting my project on interpersonal communication, of which I created for my class HSCO 508. First, let me give you a little bit of background information on myself. I am a mother of two. My daughter is Brittany, 24. I have a son, Bryson, who's 16 as well. Professionally, I have been a pricing analyst for a transportation company for over 14 years, but have recently decided to switch to my passion, which is youth counseling. In this field, interpersonal communication is my lifeline. Next slide. What is interpersonal communication? John Stewart defines interpersonal communication as the type or kind of communication that happens when the people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the person. Basically, a simpler definition is when communication takes place between individuals that does not simply emphasize their roles or characteristics, but the actual engaging that takes place between the persons. Next slide. My overarching goal is to increase my communication skill sets so that I can readily identify, become aware, and knowledgeable of verbal and nonverbal communication principles that will assist in my ability to create and maintain healthy personal and business relationships through effective communication. Next slide. My personal behavioral blend has been learned throughout this course. We have learned why we communicate the way we do, as well as behavioral blends according to our profile based on the DISC personality model test on the Uniquely You website. This test was very informative and also helped me to better understand myself and my communication style. Next slide. The DISC model contains 4 quadrants that describe the 4 types of temperaments. D is for active, task-oriented. I is for active, people-oriented. S is for passive, people-oriented. C is for passive, task-oriented. Each personality has its strengths and weaknesses, and most people are a combination of a few, which is considered the behavioral blend of the person. Next slide. My personal behavior blend is Competent Influencing Specialist, CIS. Based on the profile, people expect me to be seen as someone who is popular, articulate, kind, and intelligent. People don't see me as competitive or serious about winning. People are most likely I like to teach or speak publicly so that I can impart deep information and help lift others up. This is how they see me. Next slide. Now this actually is me. I tend to be an exceptional person with many abilities. I am outgoing and reserved as well. I organize and analyze well. Sometimes this is a hindrance because I expect others to do the same. I am cautious and careful about what and how to do things. I feel that these tremendous qualities make me an extraordinary person capable of accomplishing many things that I can barely fathom. Next slide. In my research, I found an article, Communication with Adults and with Adolescents. In an article, Interpersonal Communication Among Adolescents, they performed a survey with 50 adolescents, 25 boys and 25 girls, to determine the ability of interpersonal communication between the two genders. The results were that the boys were good in interpersonal communication skills and positively perceived their communication skills. This was helpful, as in being a youth counselor, it helped me to be more aware of gender communication, biases, and expectations. Next slide. Some of my communicational barriers are as follows. Oftentimes, fatigue is a communication barrier for me because I tend to have a lot on my plate and I have a schedule that is full majority of the time. Another communication barrier for me is sometimes I listen while already focusing on what my answer should be to what the person is saying. Recognizing these barriers have led me to resources to help me overcome these barriers. Next slide. Some of my resources and strategies are one of the most helpful resources was actually the self-teaching guide textbook that we used, Listening, the Forgotten Skill. This guide provided exercises as well as questions and scenarios that will help me navigate to a better communicating and listening ability. Next slide. My action plan is as follows. I will seek to identify times when I am communicating with others and basing what I think they should be doing or saying on what I should do or say. Basically, allow others to communicate without always having a rebuttal. Number 2, I will practice clarifying information with others to avoid any miscommunication or conflict. Excuse me. Not be as passive when communicating. I will also frequently evaluate my communication techniques by asking those that I communicate with often to share improvements that they notice, as well as I will monitor my skills as well. Next slide. In conclusion, I have enjoyed learning and gaining a better understanding of interpersonal communication in this HSCO 508 communications class. This class, the material, the interaction with fellow classmates have been an intricate part of my growth as far as communication is concerned. I would like to leave you all with this. Colossians 4:6. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer each person. Thank you so much.